So, back in Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, 90% of the fanbase's favorite character, Byakuya, was assumed to be the murderer of Chihiro Fujisaka. Okay, I should just stop. The joke was already used back in my Nagito video. I don't want to copy it. So, pretty self-explanatory. This is what if Togami was the Chapter 2 blackened of Danganronpa. And, by the way, a little warning. I'm going to sound a bit different. I'm using a different pair of a microphone. I'm using my Bluetooth, in fact, so I'm not going to sound the same, but I will sound different, so that's obvious, a big change, but that's not going to change the story. But yeah, uh, it's pretty self-explanatory. Byakuya Togami is the blackened of Chapter 2. So yeah, enjoy this video. I include Chapter 1 just because I'm used to including all chapters. No changes. This is Chapter 2, not Chapter 1, blackened, so Leon still kills Sayaka, everything like that goes the same. Now let's go to the big changes. Chapter 2. This is kind of obvious on how Byakuya is the blackened. Now, I'm not going to make up some, oh, Byakuya kills this person. I think this is more of him killing Chihiro. As for how he kills Chihiro, maybe he takes Mondo's spot, maybe fakes a letter and pretends to be Mondo so he could lure Chihiro and kill him. I don't think that would really work. Or maybe Chihiro somehow survives the dumbbell attack, like when Mondo hits him in the head, somehow Chihiro, by the skin of his teeth, made it out alive, but Byakuya, when tampered with the crime scene and hung him down up in the crucifixion pose, it accidentally strangles him and he dies from lack of oxygen. So that's kind of the possibility Ayasu would go with it. Would be a unique idea to kind of go from believing Byakuya, so go from like Toko being the blackened to Byakuya, only for Byakuya to be innocent and to look like it's Mondo, only for Mondo to be innocent and Byakuya to be the true culprit. Would be a unique kind of scenario. Byakuya would end up getting executed by the end of the story of Chapter 2, in the spot of where Mondo would turn into butter. Byakuya would have gotten his unused execution. That's kind of really all that would go on there. It's pretty obvious, and Byakuya is gonna kill in that spot, so yeah, that's the obvious spot where the first big changes come. Time to combo down the next domino effect, shall we? Though Chapter 3, I kind of forgot to include this, but Ishimaru would probably start losing trust in Mondo because Mondo attempted to kill Chihiro, so kind of loses trust in him, and he doesn't want to associate himself with Mondo for a while, so it wouldn't lead him to a point where he becomes Ishidai like in the original timeline, but instead he's more of just, he's less trustworthy of Mondo, mainly due to the fact that he tried to kill Chihiro, so yeah. But the person who would take Ishimaru's spot would be Toko, and we would probably get some type of Ishidai genocide or show mix, I don't know what to call it. This would probably Toko to being the death, or she'd probably end up killing Celeste and Hifumi instead. Probably Hifumi. It's hard to say if Celeste would get killed. I'd assume she would, so Toko would probably be the culprit of Chapter 3 if we're going in this scenario. It's probably how that would go, and the kind of the Chapter 3 would go the same there, but Toko would be the culprit. Mondo would probably, Ishimaru and Mondo would try to make it up to him, but Ishimaru is still not trusting him for obvious reasons of attempted murder, is not going to trust him for a while, so that's most of the changes here in Chapter 3. But Toko takes Ishimaru's spot for them of dying. Chapter 4 really has no other changes as well. It would more than likely have Ishimaru and Mondo probably replacing Byakuya and Toko during the whole meeting with Sakura. I would assume Mondo would probably take Toko's spot in hitting Sakura in the head. Hard to say if Ishimaru would probably do it. He would obviously attend. It's hard to say if he would actually hit her in the head. It's hard to say there. Maybe for the sake of the plot he would do it. That would really not change Chapter 4 out. Maybe, I don't know, it's possible that if Ishimaru does do it, and like he's the last. I wonder if Mondo's the last one to do it. One of those two could be the culprit of chapter 4. I doubt that would be the case, and I feel like they'd both survive by the end of the story. So I assume the plot's gonna mostly go the same. Uh, Sakura would probably still kill herself, so the group would become friends, and that could be where Ishimaru and Mondo finally start their friendship, and the Ishimondo group come back. Chapter 5 has no changes. Ishimaru and Mondo would really not change much. I do think Ishimaru would probably take Toko's spot of the whole being the one to find the Mukuro body kind of stuff. Mondo really wouldn't change much either. Most part, the chapter would mostly go the same. Toko and Byakuya never really played a big spot in this chapter, so I feel like Mondo and Ishimaru could easily replace them for said chapter. So most of the part, chapter 5 does go the same, and really no big changes come into this whole thing. And yeah, just that's honestly all the changes. There's really nothing else. They really didn't play that big of a part. Ishimaru and Mondo could easily replace Toko and Byakuya there. Now we go to the Mastermind trial, and Sho is kind of needed. If it weren't for her, they wouldn't find out the truth of the outside world. And if they do find out the outside world, like, they might have to believe Junko for that. But it's hard to say if it would be the truth or false. I mean, they'd probably not have no proof on if it's real or fake, but it's hard to say if it would be really needed. For the most part, it's kind of really one of those weird things where, what would Ishimaru and Mondo do here? Would they change much of the story? Most part, no. Trigger Happy Havoc honestly goes the same. Mondo and Ishimaru would probably just replace Byakuya and Toko as the surviving group. If you're wondering, like, stuff like, oh, anime, like Ultra Despair Girls, the Despair Arc and Future Arc, well, I mean, for starters, Despair Arc really wouldn't change. It was a prequel, and the Trigger Happy Havoc cast meant nothing to it. It was more based on the Goodbye Despair cast. Even though most of them barely got any screen time, with the only ones being Chiaki and Nagito, and maybe Fuyuhiko and Mahiru and Peko, I guess. But those were like the only ones. Uh, Future Arc would be unique. Same with Ultra Despair Girls. Ishimaru and Mondo could probably play a part in there. I do think Mondo could replace Toko and Sho, maybe helping Komaru out in the spot where Toko and Sho would come in. His biker gang and Mondo and all that, they can help and basically help go against all of them. Ishimaru would probably compete in the Future Arc killing game, or he could probably take Byakuya's spot of trying to look for the group. It's possible that it's one of those things where maybe, like, he did have a family, so he could probably get his family back into wealth in some way. Kind of where Byakuya kind of got the Togamis back into getting the light of help. I feel like Ishimaru could get the family of his into help. So it kind of would be a unique ending. We would kind of get a similar kind of feel. Like, nothing really changes for the most part, actually. I was expecting this mountain of changes, like this whole domino effect, but for the most part, Ishimaru and Mondo replacing Byakuya and Toko would not change a lot. I mean, it'd make the Ishimondo fans happy, but, like, there's no too many big changes. It's just Mondo would probably replace Toko for Ultra Spirit Girls, and Ishimaru would probably just replace Byakuya in the future arc. And maybe for Goodbye Despair, he could also come in there. He has some funny interactions with someone like Fuyuhiko and Akane, Kazuichi, Sonya. Like, the only reason he'd be there is to have funny interactions and to kind of replace Byakuya. That's kind of why he would be there. He's there to be the smart one of the group and help the Future Foundation in some ways. Probably be Makoto's right-hand man or something. And then you can have Mondo being basically this kind of like, he would be the one replacing Toko and fighting Kamaru's battles and all that. Everything goes the same, I guess, if you want to say. As if for the better or worse, I don't think I would recover if my two favorites died in the same chapter, so. Plus, Toko never really gets development. But hey, at least Ishimaru lives, so. It'd have been better if Hakaguri died instead of Ishimaru. Thanks, I really hope you enjoyed that video. See you on next time. Goodbye, everyone who's been watching this one, and see ya for my next video, which I don't see really nothing changing. It's probably not going to be one many people will like, but yeah, thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this one. Peace.